If it's true that loose lips sink ships, then not long ago the NBA may have considered itself the Titanic. But after some careful patchwork and some nifty steering through stormy seas, new Commissioner Adam Silver at the helm, the NBA is cruising along in luxurious style. Now, the business of basketball is a lucrative one. It's also very political and extremely concerned with its own public image. When private conversations started becoming public, the NBA took immediate action. Look no further than Donald Sterling, the clearly racist, prejudiced owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, was allowed to own and operate that same team for decades. Of course, now his name triggers thoughts of disgust and shame. But it was only after his private conversations leaked to the public that he was let go, or in other terms, complete and total transparency created havoc. When privacy and transparency met in a collision course, profit margins came out on top. Even during heightened scrutiny and tense emotional reaction, the Clippers sold for north of $2 billion to Microsoft mogul Steve Ballmer. Damage control quickly turned into dollars and cents. The NBA didn't just seek to control the message as damage control, but also to create revenue. One of the clearest examples of this came during the NBA draft in 2011. As sports writer Kevin Draper points out on his blog, another leak had sprung from the NBA front office on that draft night, and it happened largely because of social media. A lesser-known sports writer at that time working for Yahoo Sports, Adrian Wojnarowski, started tweeting out every draft pick, but it was happening 30 seconds before Commissioner David Stern approached the podium and made the announcement. Someone was leaking those picks to Wojnarowski from the highest ranks, and the NBA was furious. Their TV ratings were on the line, and here was this guy on Twitter stealing the show. While we don't know for sure how that may have impacted the NBA's TV ratings that night, we do know it helped out the sports writer considerably. Wojnarowski came into the draft night with just 90,000 followers. That's a respectable amount. A lot of people followed him on Twitter, but now he has nearly 1 million. 800,000 followers, nearly tenfold what he had before the leak. Now known around the league simply as Woj, he's leveraged that information to get even more information, and he continues climbing the ladder of NBA journalism. You see, he gets it. Information is power, especially in the right hands. And in this story, the NBA might as well have been the NSA, and Adrian Wojnarowski essentially played the role of New York Times reporter James Risen. Maybe a harsh comparison, but in other words, the NBA went on a witch hunt trying to cut off the mole, eliminate the leak. So after orchestrating an inside sting operation against their own front office executives, the NBA learned that Pistons great and Hall of Famer Joe Dumars was the very person handing the free headlines to Wojnarowski. Care to guess how the NBA handled it? They dished out their third largest fine in NBA history, $500,000 right out of Dumars' paycheck, because he was being too transparent. Now, after decades of growth and continued success, sports executives everywhere are starting to chart their own course and control their own narrative. NBA TV, NFL Network, even several Major League Baseball teams, all chasing their own television networks. They don't want anything left up to someone else's interpretation. Every headline, every source, every adjective and punctuation mark could all serve to help or hurt the bottom line for an owner, and they know it. Every word, every leak, it all impacts the revenue stream. Public relations has never been more amplified in sports theater and sports business. With ratings at an all-time high, more people watching, there's very little room for a misstep. And if the NBA plans to legalize gambling on professional basketball games, and Commissioner Silver has already said it's on its way, you can bet he'll make sure there are no leaks, no shenanigans, and no whiff of foul play. Like what just happened 7 years ago when an NBA referee was actually caught in the act, arrested and prosecuted for gambling on the very games he was officiating. He wasn't just controlling the message, he was controlling the outcome. And it paid off in Vegas too. Tim Donaghy actually got caught because he was winning too much. 75% of his bets paid off, and the feds knew something was up. But even Donaghy going to prison hasn't been enough to silence the whispers of point-shaving scandals and even old stories of draft pick manipulation in the NBA. Fair or not, the NBA has a reputation, and it's a reputation that can only improve if they control the message. One could almost wonder if Adam Silver and the front office executives of the NBA might be able to learn a trick or two from our friends on Capitol Hill. Politicians rest their careers on the ability to craft a message. Instead of selling tickets, their whole goal is to stay popular. Nobody's exactly lining up to watch Mitch McConnell and Harry Reid go one-on-one. Unless maybe we could pull back some throwback shorts from their era of basketball. Now, there's an idea that could sell a few tickets.